Hello everyone, my name is Amy Keller and I'm a dietitian at Mary Rutan Hospital. Of course you can tell from my background that I'm not at the hospital today, but I'm staying home and I'm staying safe and I hope that you are as well. One thing I wanted to talk about today was food safety, and I think we should think about food safety all the time, but especially during a global pandemic such as COVID. Some of the articles that I'm reading about grocery shopping and takeout, maybe have some good information in them, but maybe have some things that aren't so good. So we're going to go through a few of those things today. Let's start with the grocery store. Of course, everybody needs to go or get groceries delivered or somehow get food to your house. But how can you make it a safe experience? Here are a few tips. The first thing is to make a list and stick to it. I know, for example, from my life that I move much faster through the store if I have a list. Of course, I also do less impulse buying, which is a good thing as well. But when you are moving quickly through the store, you are minimizing your time in that environment. So anything you can cut time, and a list is really helpful for that, is a great thing. The other thing is you're unlikely to forget items when you have a list. And I think that's important as well because that minimizes trips back to the store. Of course, many of us keep our lists on our phone, and maybe that's not the best thing to do right now. It may be time, again, just minimizing phones in and out of your purse or maybe out of your pocket, where they might, again, transfer germs to your hands. It would be best at this point maybe to take a paper list with you to the store. The other issue is to make sure that you're not buying more than you need. And I know that's so difficult to think about when people are stocking up on everything. So I think more of a consideration of others. Think about if you or everybody else buys everything in the store or buys one category of things, that other people coming into the store then have to go to a second store or a third store to get what they need. So if you can, it's fine to stock up for a week or even 2 weeks, but it's not necessary to buy large quantities of things. You want to make sure that you're sanitizing your cart and your hands. And again, a lot of stores have taken that upon themselves to sanitize the carts for us. And I think that's awesome. But if you're not sure, or if you want to make sure that you feel like you better if you do it again, go ahead and do that. Do you need to wear gloves when you shop? And I really struggle with this because I see many people wearing gloves when they go out to shop. And I think, should I be wearing them too? But gloves are not completely a situation where it's fail-safe because, again, you are touching things. If you then don't change your gloves immediately, germs can still stick to your gloves. It's not necessarily something that's going to keep you safer than not having gloves. So I would recommend that you save gloves for healthcare professionals. So if you feel like you're nervous about your hands touching things in the grocery store, again, carrying hand sanitizer with you or washing your hands as soon as you get home before you do anything else, it can kind of give you that extra layer of security. The other issue that we run into are masks, and I've been grocery shopping this last week and I'm seeing a lot of people wearing masks, and I think that's a really positive thing to do. Of course, it's recommended from our state health department that we wear masks in public. But if you think about it, the masks are one of those things that protects you from giving COVID to somebody else. And unfortunately, COVID is kind of sneaky because you can be contagious before you show symptoms. So the nice thing about wearing the mask is it doesn't necessarily protect you from others, but it protects others from you. So I think that's really important. The other issue is limiting the number of people that go to the store with you. And I know sometimes it can't be helped, that people have to take their kids or they have to take their parents. But again, if you can limit the number of people in the store with you, I think that's really helpful. The other issue is I move faster when I'm by myself. And that, again, the less time you can spend in that store environment, the better. Give the cashier some space. I went to a store the other day and I noticed they had plexiglass in between myself and the cashier. I think that's a great idea. But if you don't have that situation, again, not getting up really close to the cashier is a really good idea. Wipe down your credit card after you use it. Ideally, maybe steer away from cash at this point. Or if you have that option on your watch to pay with Apple Pay or Google Pay, go ahead and do that at this time. So what happens when you get home? Again, I've seen many articles and viral videos that talk about what we should do with our groceries when we get them home. Some of these videos even recommending leaving your groceries in the garage for 3 days, or sanitizing every single package. And so let's talk about if that's really necessary. It is possible that you can become infected from a surface, but the probability of that is quite low. So instead of disinfecting packages with wipes or bleach sprays, if you're really concerned, soap and water may be a good option, especially when something isn't cardboard. So if you want to wipe down jars, or if you want to wipe down cans with a soap and water solution, that's probably adequate. The other thing you can do is bring your groceries in, wash your hands before you, and again, remembering to wash for that 20 seconds, wash your hands before you get your groceries out, wash your hands after you put them away, and then again, of course, wash your hands before you eat. The other thing you can do if you really want to be, super safe, is to take things out of packages. So for example, a box of crackers often has a bag inside. So take the bag out of the box, get rid of the box. Again, wash your hands after you're done doing that. Cereal works the same way. You can even put things in other containers if you want those store food containers out of your house, and that's fine to do. Treat grocery delivery just the same as if you had shopped yourself. We have taken advantage of grocery delivery a couple of times ourselves, and I really like it. Again, I think it minimizes people in stores. So again, if you can have those groceries come to your house, we do a contactless delivery. They leave them at the door, they ring the doorbell, and then we go pick them up. Again, treat those just like you were taking them out of your car. Again, if you want to bring them into your countertop, take the things out, remove bags if that helps you, wipe down cans, and then again, washing your hands and disinfecting your countertops when you're done. This is probably a good time not to use reusable bags unless you're washing them frequently. And I know, I'm super conscious about using reusable bags when I go to the store, but I think right now the environment will forgive you if you use paper or plastic. What about freezing food? And a lot of people wonder about, does freezing kill the virus? Unfortunately, freezing does not kill the virus. And in fact, that's how viruses sometimes are kept in labs, is that they are kept at really cold temperatures. So again, if you're worried about a microwave dinner, the key is, again, wash your hands, pull it out of the original packaging, cook it, then wash your hands again before you eat. So let's talk about cooking. Actually, cooking food does inactivate the virus, and it doesn't have to be super hot. So cooking food to 132 degrees in some of the resources that I'm seeing will inactivate the virus. So that's something that you can do if you're concerned. Again, if you are microwaving a microwave dinner till it's piping hot, again, that should be enough if there was any concern about coronavirus on your food. I think generally experts feel like food has an incredibly low risk of transmission of this virus. You are more likely to pick up coronavirus at the grocery store than you are from the grocery store. So I think that's really important to remember as well. So let's talk a little bit about takeout. I'm hoping we're all supporting our local restaurants. I think that's a great thing to do at this time, but takeout can make a lot of people nervous. Anytime, of course, you turn over your food preparation to someone else, you are giving up some level of control. So I think it's really important to know that takeout can be a safe experience with some really good kind of precautions in place. The first thing, wash your hands before you eat. And I really think that's something, if we can take a positive away from this whole pandemic that we're in, I'm hoping people are washing their hands more than they ever have. I think that's going to save us a lot of grief from other viruses and illnesses as well in the future. If you want to be extra cautious, you can certainly remove the food from the container that it came in. And if you even want to heat it a little bit more, if it's not hot when you get it, again, you can do that as well. If you get pizza delivery, the other thing you can do is, again, wash your hands after you receive the box, open the box, take the pizza out, put it on the plate, wash your hands again before you eat, and then after you've removed that pizza box from your house, wipe down the countertops that it was on. Again, washing your hands goes a long way to preventing problems from this virus. Again, the risk of transmission from surfaces is fairly low. Just because they find it on a surface doesn't mean that there's enough there to be infectious. again, we're much more likely to pick this virus up from other people. And so I think it's important to remember, no matter what grocery store you're in, and I appreciate that the stores are making some changes like limiting the number of people in the store. I think that's great. But it's also important to give people space. I've been very fortunate in the stores that I've been in to maybe not go during the busiest times. Go to those stores that you know are busy on the weekends during the week if you can. If you are part of a vulnerable population, utilizing those hours, again, can make food safety and food shopping a much better experience. So the next thing we're going to talk about is how to wash fruits and vegetables. And I have to tell you, during this time, cutting back on your fresh fruits and vegetables isn't necessary, and it's not really a good idea because we need all of that nutrition that comes from fruits and vegetables. So here in a couple of minutes, I'm going to talk to you about how to properly wash fruits and vegetables. There is lots of information out there, and in fact, a couple of viral videos that have gone way farther than they should have that recommend washing your fruits and vegetables in bleach, soap solution, and these are not safe practices. Cold running water is perfectly adequate, and we'll talk a little bit about how to do that here in a second. Whether you should be using a fruit and vegetable wash, studies show those are absolutely no more effective than cold running water. So it's not necessarily a great idea to spend the money on a fruit and vegetable wash than just using the cold water that comes out of your faucet. So let's take a look about how to properly wash our fruits and vegetables. So the first thing you want to do before you prepare any food or wash fruits and vegetables is to wash your hands. Remember, 20 seconds is key. A lot of people use happy birthday, so you can go happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Get in between your fingers, get your fingernails clean. Happy birthday, dear Amy, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Amy, happy birthday to you, and then rinse them off. And I'm always a fan of dish towels, but I probably shouldn't be during this time. Dish towels are one of those things that can become easily dirty, so if you want to use paper towels right now, I think that's probably a wise thing to do. These single-use towels, again, prevent any contamination from a dish towel. So let's talk about washing different kinds of fruits and vegetables. So if you think about these root vegetables like potatoes that again have lots of dirt on them, take a scrub brush and some cool water and you can scrub that until you feel like the dirt is mostly off. It's not necessary again to use bleach, to use soap. Again, just this good scrub brush, I have mine that looks like a potato, is all you need to do. Some people ask me, is if there a magic length of time that you need to run fruits and vegetables under a sink and under cold running water, and there actually isn't. Again, I would do that, to not maybe a quick rinse, but somewhere in the middle, maybe 30 seconds, something like that, to get the majority of the dirt off. All right. So let's talk about peppers or other things like this that maybe have a little bit of a skin on them, but you're probably going to eat that skin. So again, that cold running water is a good place to start. This is a good time to remind you too that I know it's really difficult in stores to not want to handle the produce, to check for the firmness in an avocado or something like that. This is a good time to kind of more look with your eyes and feel with your eyes than with your hands. So again, you want to make sure that you're not handling everybody else's produce. Again, that's another good reason we always want to wash things. And I'm going to lay that on a clean towel. So the other thing that I want to remind people always to do is to wash items with rinds. And you might think, well, that seems kind of unnecessary. I'm not going to eat that rind. But believe it or not, you absolutely can transfer dirt from the outside or germs from the outside of that, for example, this lime, into the inside. So think about other fruits or vegetables that might be like this, like cantaloupe, watermelon. Again, it's very important to wash the outside of the rind before you get started. Of course, you always want to remove the sticker. All right. So let's talk about those things that are more delicate. Ideally, you don't want to wash things like strawberries until you're ready to use them, because strawberries don't keep well once they've been washed. But when you are ready to use them, you don't want to scrub these because, again, they're not going to hold up. So again, washing under cold water, moving them around in the colander to make sure that every strawberry is getting rinsed well. You can even pick them up and run them under that cold water. Is a great idea. So again, remember, strawberries and things like this are not going to tolerate being scrubbed, and that makes sense. And again, you want to wait till you're really ready to use them before you wash things like berries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, because they're just not going to hold up. All right. The same thing, grapes don't hold very well once they've been washed. So again, you can wash the grapes in bunches as you use them. Again, that's an opportunity to use your colander. The other thing that you can do is, if you're worried about purchasing things from store shelves, you can buy things that are pre-bagged. This is something that kind of, rather than buying peppers from the produce stand itself, buying them in these bags, again, allows me to not necessarily have to worry about who has touched it before I got there. And then a word about those things that are pre-washed. Things like salads, things like bagged spinach. If it says triple washed or pre-washed, you do not need to wash it, even in this time. By triple washing, they have removed, what they consider to be harmful. So you want to make sure that you are not, again, possibly contaminating something that's already been washed. It's not necessary. So that's just some examples. Again, there are a million different fruits and vegetables that you have to wash in different ways. But I think it's just a good example to remember. Again, rinds don't protect you. You want to make sure you're always washing them. And then again, waiting to wash berries until you're more ready to use it. The other thing that, again, if you're nervous about contamination from fruits and vegetables or from containers, is to really wipe out your refrigerator. Take a bleach wipe, take a Lysol wipe, and really wipe out that refrigerator. Or you can use hot soapy water. It's not necessarily to even use the sanitizing wipes. Hot soapy water is a lot less expensive and does the same thing. So again, keeping that produce store wiped out in between going, grocery trips, or even just make a habit of once a week kind of cleaning out the fridge, wiping down the shelves, rinsing things in hot soapy water, again, can go a long way. Again, making sure that you're cleaning your refrigerator doors. Think about that high touch area in our house. We think about our doorknobs, we think about our bathrooms, but think about that refrigerator door and how many times people open that during the day. So you want to keep that clean as well. So just to review what we've learned today, again, when you go to the grocery store, make a list, stick to it, minimize the time in the store, minimize the people that you bring with you to the store. Making sure that you're sanitizing your cart, sanitizing your hands before and after you shop. Wear that mask if at all possible. I know it's not necessarily the most comfortable or natural thing to do, but wear a mask when you're in the grocery store. You do not need to wear gloves when you're in the grocery store. It doesn't really protect you as much as you think it does. And again, I think that the key is to make sure that you're washing and sanitizing your hands. When you get home, it's not necessary to leave your food in the garage for 3 days, especially things that require refrigeration. Even though it's still sometimes cold outside, the garage is not a safe place to store cold food. So again, making sure that you're bringing your food in, sanitizing your countertops, again, removing the food from packages if you're concerned, things like bags out of crackers and cereals. And then again, washing your hands and sanitizing your countertops after you've put everything away. With takeout, again, you can absolutely remove the items from the original packaging if that concerns you, but you can also just wash your hands. I think, again, so many things could be helped if we just wash our hands a little bit more. And then finally, with washing your fruits and vegetables, cold running water is best. It is not necessary to buy an expensive fruit and vegetable wash, and it's not safe to use things like soapy water on your fruits and vegetables and bleach. Again, it's just not a safe practice. And again, not a time to cut back on your fruits and vegetables because you're worried about COVID. Fruits and vegetables, a healthy diet can, go a long way in, making our immune system strong. So eating a healthy diet with lots of fruits and vegetables is very good. So if you have any questions, I'm going to include some links with today's webinar, some my favorite resources with fruits and vegetables. And then if you have questions, again, we invite you to ask those. I will address those as we get them. We appreciate your attention today and hope that you are very safe in staying home.